Well, hello there everyone. It's Sunday and time for a new episode of Record Collecting with a Quill. Today we're talking power trios. There's tons of them in the history of rock and roll. You have obviously some really famous ones. You have ZZ Top, you have Rush, you have The Police. But I thought I'll focus a little bit more on a couple of more obscure power trios. There's some really cool stuff to be found out there that maybe isn't as famous as the biggest ones, but hopefully you'll find something cool you haven't heard of before. But before we start, you know the drill. Make sure to subscribe and hit that little notice bell, and also share with your friends if you think they're into this kind of stuff. Well, starting out, power trios are it's a really cool setting to play within. I've done it a couple of times, most famously I think with Firebird, the album Joel and I did an album with Bill Steer from Carcass. And it's really fun because there's a lot of space to play within when you're only three in a group. And from the albums I've chosen, you can see this most often they are guitar driven in most cases here. Sorry. Well, starting out, the first one, maybe the one that's least guitar driven. My first pick is Grin, and the famous guy here being Nils Lofgren. This is where he started out before he was associated with Neil Young when they did this album, and he later became a member and still is a member of the Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. They did 4 albums, Grin. I believe I have 3 of them, missing the last one. But this is perfect Sunday music for me. It's kind of mellow. A couple of tracks really mellow, but there are also some stuff a little bit more on the heavy side, especially with some really cool Hammond organ. But I'm a really big fan of Nils Lofgren's vocals as well. He has a really soft type of vocals, but it's really identifiable, and I quite enjoy it. And they were a really cool band, Grin. Well worth checking out. So my first pick, Grin, with Nils Lofgren. Next one, from Wales. If you're into early hard rock, I guess you heard about Budgie. They did a bunch of albums in the 70s. This is Never Turn Your Back on a Friend, contains their most famous track, Bread Fan, later covered by Metallica. And it was when Metallica I think they covered a couple of more tracks of Budgie, and that's when they started to earn some good money, I guess. But they were a cool band, some really cool stuff. There's some heavy stuff on this one, but also some mellower stuff, your typical mid-70s stuff. But I think they're really cool, and they sort of remind me sometimes of Rush, especially because of the vocals. There's some really high-pitched vocals here as well, but also some really cool heavy stuff, and a band well worth checking out if you haven't heard them. Budgie, Never Turn Your Back on a Friend. Next one, from Canada, Mahogany Rush. This is their 4th album called 4. Also a great band. They did tons of good stuff in the 70s and 80s, and then they sort of disappeared, and now I heard Frank Marino had to quit music altogether for health reasons. But as I said, they were a great band, a fantastic guitar player. They did some stuff on the Mahogany Rush moniker, and then they later on under his own name, Frank Marino, sometime. I think there's a couple of albums called Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush as well. But as I said, some great guitar playing and singing as well, and cool playing in general. Next one, even more guitar. As I said, guitarists seem to love the format. This is probably the least famous of the albums I picked. It's a band called Ursa Major. And the guy here, this is the starting point for Dick Wagner, a famous session guitar player. He played with Alice Cooper, Lou Reed. He played on Destroyer with Kiss, and also a little bit on Revenge. This album, they're from New York. The album is from 1972. There's some great guitar playing, great singing, and also fantastic drumming. Some really cool drum fills and a couple of tracks here. Believe the track is called Sinner. There's some fantastic cool stuff. So check it out if you haven't heard them. This is the one, if you haven't heard them, to really check out. Some great stuff. Another band I mentioned before, but that was with the Tommy Bolin lineup, but this band, James Gang, and the album Rides Again. This is the first lineup of James Gang with Joe Walsh playing and guitar and also singing. And this is the most famous album. It's you have the track Funk 49, I believe is the most famous one. There's also some really cool heavy stuff. The Bomber, I really like 10 My Garden as well. They were a great band in the 70s. A lot of different lineups, but usually they made cool stuff all the way through. This lineup have reunited a couple of times over the years. Whenever Joe Walsh think it's a fun thing to do and he's not busy with other projects, he's reunited them, as I said, from time to time. But this is a great album and a great band. James Gang, Rides Again. Next pick. This is a band in the category that should have been a lot bigger than they actually became. King's X, this is the album Dogman. I remember when this came out, we listened to it a lot in the QUILL. I think it came out around the same time we did the first album. This is one of those bands that has a really identifiable sound. A lot of it has to do with Doug Pinnick playing 12-string bass, but they also have some killer harmony vocals. Or always had killer harmony vocals. They always make great albums, and they were kind of in this was sort of a make it or break it album, and unfortunately got great reviews, but it didn't sell that much, maybe because of the whole grunge thing, I don't know. But they're still active. They had some health issues as well. I believe the drummer's been really sick, but they're still an active band, and all their stuff are great. So if you haven't heard them, check them out. King's X, Dogman. The next one is a band I've discovered just recently. It's a British band called Tank. This is their second album, I believe, Power of the Hunter, from 1982. This is for all you who are into early Motorhead. They sound quite similar, and they toured together with them as well in the beginning. And I really like this album. It's raw. It's, as I said, it's for fans of early Motorhead. You have a great cover here of Crazy Horses, the Ozma song, sort of a hidden jewel in the music history. It's kind of unexpected that the Ozma has such a heavy song in their catalog, but I love that track, and they do quite a good cover of it here as well. And this is one of those bands that the name, I've always seen the name, and I never really took the time to listen to them, but when I did, I was kind of blown away. So a great album to check out if you're into early 80s hard rock. Kind of a bit of a weird cover, isn't it? But never mind, the music is what matters, so check it out. That were my 7 picks for power trios. Do you have any suggestions? Please let me know in the comments section. And as usual, I will put a couple of tracks from each album on the Spotify playlist. Unfortunately, I know there's quite a few of these albums that aren't available on Spotify, but you can always find them on YouTube, so check them out if there's anything you think you might like. And also, make sure you follow us on social media. It's the QUILL Sweden. We're doing sort of an announcement tomorrow. Some cool stuff coming out in January connected with the tour. So make sure you don't miss out on that as well. And also, you can always find previous episodes on our YouTube channel as well. There's, I believe, what is it now, 35 or 36 episodes or something. So time flies when you're having fun. Well, that's it for now. I'll see you all again next week, and if you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comment section. But thanks for watching this week, and see you all again next Sunday. Bye for now.